Bad takes. We've all had them. I grew up with a mother who really likes licorice. We're not all perfect. My goodness me, how do you live like that? Unbelievable, mother. Do better. I don't know why I'm stitching up my mum here. Anyway, throughout so much content that I've had to produce throughout 2023 that fingers crossed you have all enjoyed, whether it's one piece, all of them, doesn't matter to me as long as you're enjoying yourself. That's all that matters here on Daz Talks Footy. I have said some outlandishly, so far incorrect, batshit terrible things that need to be highlighted here. Because we can't expect, or I don't believe I can expect, 18 AFL clubs to get better. I don't think I can call out clubs, players, these things, if the moment fits, without having a moment of self-reflection as well. And let me tell you, this list could have been longer. It absolutely could have been, but I'm kind of narrowing it down to categories here and going from there. So I hope you enjoy. Here are my worst takes from 2023 so far. There might be more to come in the final series, who knows, but let's take the piss out of Daz for a little bit. Let's get into it. Just before we get started, guys, like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Trying to hit 1,600 subscribers very, very soon, aiming for 1,750 before Grand Final Day. Only you can help me do that, so if you haven't already, please do so. If you have subscribed, click the bell notification next to the subscribe button. You will get notified every time I upload, and you can get your little fix of Daz Talks Footy as we romp home to a massive 2023 final series. This video is also sponsored by Capital Edge Australia, who have an amazing $3,000 promo that is happening, that is beginning at the start of September. More about that at the end of the video and in the description below. But Capital Edge have been amazing sponsors throughout the last few months and will hopefully continue to do so. But let's get into these bad takes, and I promise there were more good ones than bad ones. But you wouldn't watch a good takes video, so let's get into the proper dog shit. So in the free agency hot takes video, 4 out of those 5 predictions haven't come true yet, haven't been known to be false yet, with guys like Darcy Parish and Ben Mackay still weighing up their options as to what is going on with their career. But one of them was about Collingwood, and it is fair to say that this one was wrong real quick. Check this out. And last but not least, none of Collingwood's 4 free agents are there in 2024. Yep. Whoops. I don't have an excuse for this. I'm actually not going to throw up excuses for these. It's just wrong. It's just incorrect. I took a massive swing and it didn't work. There were 18 to win off the last over and Brett Lee's bowled me a Yorker. No chance I was getting anywhere near it. I don't know why I said it. I don't know why I wrote it down and thought this would be a worthy thing to record. But the 3 of them are going to be there. Highly doubt Cooper Murley's going to be there, but I mean, when you try to retire one of the game's greatest players and he has an extraordinarily good season that's going to see another top 5 finish in a best and fairest, you fucked up. And that's what happened. So, yeah, that's a good way to start the video, I think. So there are some in the best and fairest video that I think are going to be aging poorly outside of my control. I think of guys like Touk Miller and Jack Steele. Now, the Steele one is more, I think, a bad call, considering I grossly underestimated Jack Sinclair's ability to have yet another great year. But the Touk one's unlucky. He's definitely got the capability of winning a best and fairest, but he got injured. So that's not the bad one here. Now, I do have a bad take of a guy who got injured throughout the year, but that's because it was a bad call at the start, and a guy who was relatively healthy for the majority of the season that is not going to finish close to the top 5. So Carlton and West Coast are the teams whose best and fairest winners I really stuffed up here, so roll the clip. Carlton, Adam Sard. West Coast, Elliot Yeo. Yep. I remember doing the Essendon one in 2022, and I picked Sam Draper to win their best and fairest, which at the time I was like, all right, sometimes you got to go for a big swing, and it doesn't quite work. That one, yeah, I don't really know what to say about either of those two. They're just bad calls. But let's keep the West Coast train going, because I apparently didn't stop the shitstorm then, so let's go to the next one. West Coast's win-loss was 6.5. Can you imagine someone taking the over? That would be pretty silly, wouldn't it? Well, one person in Australia did, and it was this idiot. I don't know. I'm sorry. That was, yeah. I'm blaming Smithy for that. We agreed too much throughout that video, and being different is not being cool or even being right. It's downright dumb if those are the things that are going to fall out of my head. But it wasn't the only team that I got massively wrong in the win-loss projections, although not as stupid, I don't think, as the West Coast one. Check this out. Yeah, what is dumber? Thinking a team is going to be good and they're actually terrible, or thinking a team is not going to be that great that ends up being awesome? I'd still argue the West Coast one's dumber, but a massive credit to Port Adelaide. They did surprise me. I did think they were going to be reasonably good. I didn't have them in my 8. They finished in the top 4 and done a fantastic job. So that one doesn't feel as stupid to me as the West Coast one, but I thought it was worthy of putting in there. But speaking of that and not ending up in my 8, I actually got 5 out of the 8 right this year. Now, I'm not seeing that as a bad result otherwise, because again, so many things can happen throughout a season. But why my ladder ends up in the bad takes is the 3 teams I got wrong were really wrong. So that was my ladder at the start of the year. I missed Freo by 6 spots and Geelong and Richmond by 8 and 9 each. That's not good. You know, if you're going to get it wrong, you'd like to have had like the Bulldogs in there, for example, or you might have wanted an Adelaide in there, and Adelaide will be in my ladder next year. Top 4. If you haven't seen that video, you can go and check that out. But yeah, that's just a soft landing one. I'd love to say I'll be able to blame those teams, but if you're 3 or 4 spots away, you can kind of go, oh, come on, guys, you couldn't have won a few extras for me. But no, being 8, 9, and 7 spots away or 6 spots away is not good enough. And by the time I do my ladder for next year, I'm going to take a good, hard, long look at myself and figure out where to go from here. But these are all one-offs, right? So yeah, one video, one take, and it's aged pretty terribly, alright? Things like my Will the Bombers, I should say, and their finals drought video. That hasn't aged that well. However, when it comes to these takes, I'd like to think that why you guys enjoy watching me, even if you disagree with me, because I don't make content that everyone is going to agree with. It would be impossible, and B, I'm not changing my opinion because I think some people will disagree. That's stupid. Alright? But when you get the same thing wrong over and over and over again, from the start of the year to during the year, and even a month ago, I think you got to put your hand up and say, my worst take of the year was continuously getting the same team wrong. So I put my hand up, and I have to admit that for the entirety of 2023, my worst take of the season was being so wrong about the St Kilda Football Club. At no point this year did they look like a finals team to me. When I was figuring out which teams would drop in and out of the 8 earlier in the year, I dropped them out, and I think with Carlton, which didn't exactly age that well either, just quietly, and put Geelong and Port Adelaide in. Alright, cool, the Port Adelaide one's right, the Geelong one's really wrong, but throughout this year, when there's been a team that I've just expected to just open up the chute and fall away, St Kilda have kind of been that side. So as we sit here now, they're going to play the Giants, and look, I'm going to be honest, I honestly think the Giants are going to win, and I'll probably be wrong again. But for the St Kilda Football Club, for the St Kilda fans, fingers crossed you haven't jumped off, even though I've doubted you the entire way through. This is my unreserved apology. Ross Lyon's done a fantastic job. The Saints are playing finals. I hope you get to enjoy this entire experience. I hope you can stick the middle finger up at me one more time when they beat the Giants. But the Saints have collectively been my worst take of 2023. So what do you guys think? A lighthearted video here as we get towards the bye, which in my opinion is one of the dumbest things about this sport. And believe me, that list is the Flemington straight long sometimes. But I hope you've enjoyed. Click that subscribe button. And this video is sponsored by Capital Edge Australia. They've been fantastic sponsors with a $3,000 September special as we hit towards the finals. If you're looking to get into the market and you want to be either A, educated, or be a part of the journey towards creating generational wealth, Capital Edge are here to help them. When it comes to things like conveyancing fees and all of these things that might be adding up during the process, Capital Edge are putting $3,000 towards all of those things so you can get started on your investment property journey ASAP. And if you visit or call the details on your screen and you mention Daz Talks Footy and you get started in September, you're going to save $3,000. What more can you ask for? Hopefully some better takes from Daz during September. But thank you to Capital H. Thank you for watching this video. Click that like button. Click the subscribe button. I'm looking forward to finals. I hope you are too. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.